This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Lord. All right. The other story that I found very interesting, and if you can, pull this up there, Bill, because Michael Lombardi, who, he's an NFL insider now, and he's got his own podcast. It's called the GM Shuffle. We played a cut from the GM Shuffle a couple weeks ago, right? And so Boomer Esiason was taking umbrage with Michael Lombardi because Lombardi broke the story last week that Tua had two hand injuries back-to-back and had to have operations on it. And so Boomer was bothered that Lombardi would break that story. So Lombardi, on his podcast with his co-host, they played the Esiason soundbite, and you're going to hear Esiason, but then you got to hear Michael Lombardi after that, okay? This is as juicy as it gets, and I hope Boomer Esiason has the balls to, get on the mic with Michael and go back and forth on this topic, okay? We'll let you decide. I'll give you my opinions on this after you hear this exchange.
Shots fired from Boomer Esiason, the former longtime Bengals quarterback, of course, NFL analyst on CBS, and a part of a radio show, WFAN Boomer and Geo. Take a listen at Boomer Esiason going after my man Michael Lombardi.
The other thing, and it goes back to the Tua Tagovailoa stuff with Mike Lombardi. Like who the hell is Mike Lombardi to be reporting that Tua had broken a wrist in spring practice and then rebroke it? Like, how does he find out that information? Because he's close friends with Nick Saban, and is Nick Saban giving Mike Lombardi that information so Mike Lombardi can go running out there and just absolutely try to discredit a kid? Don't you find? I find something wrong with that, and I understand that Lombardi and Mike Tannenbaum both, they're in the media now. They were on the other side. Now they're on the dark side, and they have contacts, they have information, and they use that information. And I get all of that stuff, but I do think that there's a violation here somewhere along the line that somebody is outing players and their health issues when those things should be kept private, I think.
All right, thanks to Boomer and Geo for the audio. WFAN Sports Radio, 660 AM, 101.9 FM. I mean, that's shocking that Boomer Esiason would take shots like that, Mike. Like, who the hell is Mike Lombardi reporting that stuff? Does he not know? You got a job to do, report information.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and I have a real problem with. Look, Boomer could say whatever the fuck he wants. I could give a shit, right? Like, I know he's on TV and, all that crap, and he's got his own show. That's great. Like, at some point, you owe it to the people that are listening to your show to be informed. Like, you need to be informed. And what I'm saying has nothing to do with, trying to discredit a kid. How am I discrediting the kid? The kid got hurt. Everybody in the National Football League knows about it. If Boomer watched football on Saturday afternoons, he would know the kid got hurt too. Like, it's documented knowledge, right? And my job, your job, and anybody's job who talks to the fans are to educate the fans. And so we're trying to do is bring them behind the scenes to understand how teams process injuries. Like, I'm not violating the kids' HIPAA laws. They're documented. Like, at some point, if you're going to break down the draft, Boomer, discuss the injuries of Tua, because that's the issue. That's the fucking issue. And how am I discrediting the kid when the kid got the injuries and they're out there for all the world to see? Now, if you're on Lee Steinberg's payroll and you're covering up for Lee, just tell your audience that. Look, Lee told me to cover up for you. Like, I'm going to do this. But, like, I owe it to the people to understand who love the draft, and when he starts to slip, I think Peter King has him going later in the first round. When he starts to slip, the fans at home could say, well, it's the injuries. But discrediting the kid? How can you possibly accuse me of discrediting the kid? Because I'm friends with Nick Saban. The mistake I made is I said it was the wrist. It wasn't. It was the fifth metatarsal. I apologize. That's on me. It was the fifth metatarsal, and it happened twice. But the reality was, I haven't talked to Nick Saban. I don't need to talk to Nick Saban about his fucking injuries. They're out there. They're living proof. Like, at some point, what do you owe your audience? You just going to tell him how great you were, that you threw it to Eddie Brown? I mean, seriously. Like, at some point, you're supposed to educate the people that are listening to you. So you take a shot at me because I'm trying to tell people about what the process is behind the draft. If he would call up any of his friends in the NFL and say, tell me through the draft, but he don't know a fucking thing about the draft. He doesn't understand how it works. And yet he's educating people. Now, you tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, I don't understand what his issue is with you. Exactly your point, Mike. You worked in the NFL for a very long time. You now work for The Athletic. You work for Cadence 13 with his GM Shuffle podcast. You work for The Daily Coach. You work for VSiN. Your job is a guy, as you said, to explain things, to be informative. And this is information. This isn't like under lock and seal. This isn't guarded by the CIA or the FBI. This is information that's out there. And that's part of your job, is to break information. If Boomer Esiason has an issue with you breaking this, does he have an issue with Adam Schefter breaking information? Does he have an issue with Field Yates or anybody else who's an NFL insider?
Oh, of course not. He's not going to take a shot at Adam Schefter. Oh, no. He and Adam are buddies. He's going to go on. He's got fucking Jason LaCanfora on his show on Sunday mornings breaking information, but that's okay. That he's discrediting coaches that are going to get fired, that's okay. But if I report something that's actually facts, that people are really worrying about drafting a kid, it has nothing to do with the kid. Like, look, I mean, he can discredit me all he wants, right? Like, he can go read my book. If he wants to discredit me, just read the book, okay? If you don't think I understand what I'm talking about, then, go talk to Belichick, go talk to Al Davis, read the book. Say, Lombardi's full of shit. He wrote a fucking shitty book. Okay, great. That's fine. I got no problem with that. He's entitled to his opinion. I got no problem with that, But he sits there like he's some fucking pope on a high mountain because he works for WFAN. Like, I give a shit? Like, I care what he thinks of me. I don't give a crap. Like, he's not my judge. He don't judge me. I don't judge him. I don't go on TV when he says something fucking absolutely stupid on Sunday morning that I call somebody that's on the set with him and say, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't do that. He's entitled to his opinion.
The use of discredit is the thing I have the biggest issue with. Like, you are not discrediting Tua Tagovailoa. You're painting an honest picture.
It's like he's saying I have malice towards the kid. It's like I have malice towards the kid. I mean, Lee Steinberg made this comment on WEI. He said, well, Lombardi called him brittle. Well, let's look up the definition of fucking brittle, okay? Let's look that up. Like, I choose my words. Like, I actually do write for a living. Like, you would have to say after a 32-game career and 5 surgeries that Tua is brittle. But I get where Lee's coming from. I don't have a problem with Lee. I love Lee. Lee's the greatest salesman. I mean, he's P.T. Barnum. All he needs is a couple elephants and a tiger, and it's perfect, right? He's out there selling, man. And that's what he has to do. And that's why he's good for kids. But for Boomer to sit on his fucking WFAN throne in the morning and say, well, Lombardi discredited the kid. Hey, Boomer, did you watch college football on Saturday afternoon, or were you too busy?
That is fantastic. And I love how Lombardi let him have it because, see, here's the problem that we have in our business, okay? Look, we've talked about it where if you work for certain stations and they're the flagship station, they may be worried about saying something negative about a team and the politics come into it, right? We also have this other problem that sometimes ex-players, they can't be objective. And Lombardi in no way, shape, or form is discrediting Tua because none of us are ever discredit Tua because everybody loves Tua. Everybody loves the kid. Everybody loves how he plays. The only thing is they don't trust his body. That's it. There's no other knock on Tua. I mean, some people say, okay, he's not a big guy. He's not as athletic as some people will say, they think he is. He doesn't have a rocket for an arm. Okay, whatever. But all of those things are not important. Plenty of quarterbacks that haven't been the most athletic out there have succeeded. Plenty who have no athleticism have succeeded, okay? Because Brady has no athleticism, okay? Tua is Edwin Moses next to, Brady. So guys they don't have to have a gun to succeed. Plenty of people have had the kind of arm Tua has, maybe even a little weaker, and have succeeded. Size, same thing. Plenty of guys have succeeded at his size too. Okay, so that's not the case. The only knock on the kid, the legitimate knock, is the injury. And Esiason he makes it sound like breaking the story about the 2 hand injuries, that it's news to everybody. No, dude. What are you, an idiot? The NFL teams know it's not they know that story already. Now, they're not sharing it, but Lombardi did. And you're not breaking any HIPAA laws, like he said. You know what I mean? So it's just a bunch of overreactions. And bottom line, okay, Esiason can't handle the truth. Now, the other part that Lombardi was maybe onto, and you know, I tried to look this up. I wonder if Boomer Esiason was represented by Lee Steinberg. I think he was. Which then also, if he's doing it because he's doing a favor for Lee, that's also embarrassing for Boomer Esiason. It really is, dude. Because it's, I mean, we have some fun here, right? The young lady, what's her name, Laura Rutledge. You know, she does a nice job, man. She's a good host and all that, but she has no credibility in my eyes. When she talks about Tua, she sounds exactly like a mouthpiece that the agent is telling her everything and she repeats it because there's no objectivity behind it. Okay? She only reports positive. She only reports like everything is golden and everything's a rainbow and everything's unicorns, and that's, you know, I get it. You need somebody that the agent will talk to. That's fine, but you're only getting one side of the story. And when I hear Laura Rutledge talk about Tua, you basically have no credibility at this point. Like, that's the worst thing that you can do as a reporter. Right there. Because everybody sees it. I don't know if Joe Fan picks up on that. I don't know if all of you have picked up on that. But I can tell you that the rest of us in the media, we see it and we can read right through it. And yeah, not what you, at least for me, hell, working at QAM, they couldn't shut me up. You know, I was just, that program director that's there, Whiteside left a semi-automatic gun unlocked in his car. Remember that when they stole it? That he said he was shooting and then he took it to the car, left it in the car, went back inside, but he says he didn't lock it, and so that's why it got stolen. So I called him a knucklehead, a moron that day. I mean, what else are you going to call Whiteside? Right? So the program director comes to me after the show and goes, hey, do you have to call Whiteside a moron? Do you have to call him a knucklehead? And I go, he left a semi-automatic rifle unlocked in his car. What would you like me to call him? Well, yeah, it's kind of harsh. That's what you got to deal with. Those kind of politics. And I couldn't deal with that. You know what I mean? I looked at him straight and I said, he's a knucklehead, and that's what I'm calling him. That's it. Because at that moment, he wanted to try to control what I was going to say on the air about someone or a team. And the second I allow him to change what I can say on the air, what do you think happens after that? He comes in to editorialize everything I'm doing. And that's when I say, screw you, bro. That's not who I am. Okay? One of the reasons why I've lasted 30 years, it's because most of you appreciate the brutal honesty. Because it's what you see. And you want somebody to say what you're seeing. But you don't have enough people like that because, but hey, man, the beauty is now we get to do it here. You wouldn't have been able to hear that whole Lombardi thing on regular radio. And it all would have been beeped out and all that, which doesn't matter. I mean, I don't spend my time here spewing bad words all the time. You know, I'll let some out every once in a while. It's usually only the S word anyways. But you won't really hear me doing the F word and all that. But I don't need to beep it out here. I want you guys to hear it raw, the way it goes. So you can hear Lombardi's emotion, which is great. And he was right, 1,000%. No way you're discrediting the kid. It's just a joke. and it makes Boomer Esiason look like a joke because he looks like a player that cannot be objective.
Well, Boomer is kind of a pompous.
All right. That's why I'm kind of glad that Lombardi took him to the woodshed and just beat him down, bro. Beat him down. That was awesome.
It's a really good thing that he's on satellite radio, right?
Yeah. Well, no, that's a podcast. No, that's a podcast. Yeah. So satellite podcast, doesn't matter. It's all the same thing.